Join by phone.
Great. So we've started recording.
Maybe just cancel.
And I just sort of wanted to welcome everyone to the meeting and sort of explain what this is. And then I'm going to let Blair take over. And then we're going to do a very, very quick little piece from the country directors to tell us a little bit about Integrity Idol. Those of you that have sent me PowerPoint slides to answer the questions, that's great. I've added them here. Those of you that haven't, no worries. I will have them ready. Oh, you can just speak. I'm going to also mute. Hi, Fires. Fires has made it. I'm muting everyone unless you're speaking, just so that we can make sure that we can hear everyone. So, welcome to our first open board call / all staff meeting. And the idea for this meeting is that we've realized that we've gotten very big and that many of you have not met some of us. Oh, and Andrew has made it. Hi, Andrew. Many of you have not met us up in the global team. Some of you have not met each other. And so in this way, we can also really share information, share each other's experiences. And so each meeting, which we will hopefully have every month, it's only going to be 45 minutes long, an hour if we have to. And we're going to make sure that Blair's going to give a little bit of an overview about what happened over the month and what's happening. I'm going to give 1 or 2 operations conversations. We can have all the outside conversations outside this meeting. So if there's any questions that you have, big questions, you can talk to me or Blair or whoever you are interested in hearing a little bit more about. Speak to us directly. But this is just really a way that we can get our board members and each other involved with what we're doing. So next time, please feel free to invite your board members. If you want to invite some donors, that's also fine. The idea is that this is about us learning and sharing and being completely open with who we are. So, Blair, if you want to take over.
Sure. Thanks, Jean. You can see me up at the top, guys. I'm here in Nepal with the team, and this is very exciting. As Jean pointed out, we've grown a lot, and we don't necessarily know what the lab is doing in other countries. We haven't necessarily had the opportunity to visit each other, and this is a family, and it's important that we know what we're doing and how we can learn from each other, and be open with each other about our challenges and hopefully our successes. So what I wanted to do to begin with, before we turn to each of the country directors, is give you just a few slides on what's happening at the Accountability Lab globally, and then we'll dive into some of the country level issues. And the first thing is really that we're growing. 6 years ago when we started, it was just me, and now we're in 53 staff in 6 countries. It's amazing, how quickly we're growing, how exciting this movement is that we're building, and and how important you are to helping us do that. We are getting more organized in all of the countries that we're operating. We're getting more active local boards. We're getting lots and lots of volunteers. We're getting a lot more partnerships going in different ways. We're sharing programs across countries. And so it's really, really exciting. And from my perspective, having seen this all the way through, it's incredible to see now how much more we have people coming to us. And we're seen as the authority on some of these issues. We're seen as the people that are doing some of the most innovative work, which is a credit to all of you guys. But also, I think a recognition of how far we've come. So that's one big change. We're growing. The second is fundraising, and that comes along with all of this. Of course, our budgets are going up. We have been applying for and winning lots of grants, thinking about partnerships that can help us grow our income across all of our countries. Obviously, it varies a lot, but all of you are getting much better at fundraising and managing those grants over time, which is fantastic, and building relationships with with donors, governments, foundations, companies. I was talking to Narayan earlier today about some of the corporate partnerships that we're developing. BMW, for example, is sponsoring Integrity Idol in South Africa. It's about to do the same in Mexico, which I can tell you more about. So that's all exciting, but more to do. There's always more that we could do, more help that we need, and more resources that we could use. The third thing is about programs. Citizen help desks started here in Nepal. We've just been talking about it. We now do citizen help desks in Liberia around natural resource issues. We do citizen help desks in Mali around security and trust. I think we're planning it in Nigeria and Pakistan. So it's great to see the way that some of these programs are beginning to be adapted to other local contexts and then evolving over time, along with new programs like Rap to Rep, which started in which we're now beginning in Nigeria. We started something in Pakistan recently called the SDG 16 Innovation Challenge, which I think would be very relevant in many other countries. So we should continue to kind of share ideas around these things. If you want to learn more about these new programs, let's talk to each other offline. The monitoring and evaluation and learning is also a big part of what we're trying to get better at. We've hired new monitoring, evaluation, learning staff here in Nepal, in Liberia. We're about to hire a ML staff member in Nigeria, and we're hiring one in Mali. So we're really, we're getting there. We're getting much better at collecting data, understanding how we're doing, measuring impact, and sharing lessons internally and externally, which is fantastic. And we're doing much deeper dives into learning of different sorts in a few different countries. Here in Nepal, we've just been working with Elisa from MIT on a learning and evaluation of learning process and evaluation of the citizen help desks. In Liberia, Sherry has been there recently working with the team on something called contribution tracing. And in Mali, we're looking to do the same thing. We also worked with Stuart from MIT to look at the impact of Integrity Idol. So more on that to come too. And then finally, lots of interest and engagement globally, as I mentioned, people coming to us wanting to partner, wanting to hear our advice and see how we can help them. Lots of interest from the media. And so, we've now created a profile and a reputation that I think is really holding us in good stead as an organization that cares about accountability, does creative things, and really is mobilizing young people in the right kinds of ways. But there's still lots more we can do. We shouldn't get in any way complacent. Here are 5 of the big challenges I think that we all face across every country. The first is sharing knowledge. The fact that this is the first time really that we've done this indicates that we're not yet good enough at talking to each other and understanding what can be learned from different places and then how it can be adapted and used to help us improve. That goes for both programs, but also for systems and how we manage those programs. Secondly, that point, systems and processes within each country, we need to better streamline the way that we manage information, the way that we write proposals and reports, the way that we manage our finances. We're doing many, many, many good things, but there's always ways that we can improve, always ways that we can learn from ourselves and from others to make sure that we are the most efficient and effective organization that we can be. The third is strategy and coordination. This comes back to sort of theories of change and the kind of vision that we have for what we want to do, which we can talk more about, but we are at Accountability Lab Global working on. But you should also be thinking within your own contexts. Why is what we're doing important? Why does it matter? What is the impact we're really trying to see for all of these programs? And what is our role in all of this? What are our comparative advantages? Who is supposed to do what within each project? And what is the division of labor between Accountability Lab Global? And by that, we mean Jean and Sherry and myself, who are working from the US, and you guys in the countries. The fourth is storytelling. We do so many good things, and we are not yet good enough at explaining them. Collecting those stories, story making as well as storytelling. So we need to get better at collecting those stories and explaining what we do. And then finally, sustainability. we are a non-profit, but donors often change their priorities. We never know when grants are going to get renewed or not. So we'll continue to apply for grants, but we also need to think about how we make all of this sustainable. Are there revenue models? Are there partnerships that we can enter into that can help us make sure that we can continue to do this over time?
Thank you, Blair.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we can leave some. We'll have a little bit of time for questions at the end, so hold your questions. Let's see if we can get through this. I'm just going to do a little piece on operations, but next month, Sherry will do a little something on sort of monitoring and evaluation and learning. So the idea is that we'll have every month, we'll have something from AL Global, and then we'll talk about a theme during sort of with all the country teams. So as I said, this is the first monthly open board call. We'll hopefully do this every month. For all the country teams, it's budget season. So I will be getting hold of all the country directors and finance officers in the coming days to talk about how we can streamline the budget process, and then have both really, really robust country budgets, but also a really robust global budget. Some of you would have seen that I've sent out an email about past performance. This is key because we're now 6 years in and we've been doing projects for so long. Every single Solidary proposal that has ever gone out from the lab always has something about past performance. And as we sort of get older, we start forgetting about the different bits and pieces that we have done. So country directors really past performance nailed by the end of this month, but I would like it by the end of this week. Please speak to your country teams. Country teams help out. What we need is things like dates and how many beneficiaries we had and who's involved with what and what our impact was and how much money it cost. This really, really helps bolster our ability to bid for extra money. Some of you would have seen over the last month or so that we're also trying to standardize staff tiers, salaries, and benefits to make sure that although the salaries are not going to be the same across the countries, that the same person that people are getting paid the same amount for the same amount of work, and that we're also standardizing job titles to make sure that our organogram is representative of the organization. Please take a look on our AL Global website or our just general website. I have put our giant organogram at the top of all the staff, so you can see if there's a mistake, I can change it. That's very easy. Do let me know. And then the AL Global Strategic Support Office, which is us, and now recently Stephanie. So Stephanie, who will be working in West Africa predominantly, she was a fellow in Nepal and has now moved to West Africa. She will be spending time helping out as sort of a roving support staff member, as well as assisting with some of this sort of cross-learning and cross strategy. She is not taking over a position, a fixed position from any country team at all. She is hired by AL Global to provide additional support so that Blair doesn't need to travel as much and dot around the world. And also just so that we can make sure that people get the help when they need it and don't need to wait. So that's it from operations. And now I'm going to ask our Nigeria team, is there anyone there from the Nigeria team to start up and talk about the the few questions that I asked the teams to answer, which was, tell us a little bit about Integrity Idol Night in your country this year. When did you open applications? When did they close? How many nominations have you received? Have you noticed anything different about this year's nominations? And why do you think this is? What other things have you done differently this year? And tell us about the partnerships you made for this year or next year. The idea behind this is that we can maybe get some really good ideas between each other on how to build Integrity Idol out.
Cool. Jean, if Ode or the Nigeria team are not on the line, I'm happy to talk a bit about this because I was just there and learned about it.
I think Ode is traveling.
Okay.
Great.
Did he send you the slides? Have you got? Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, so in Nigeria, this is the second year we're doing Integrity Idol. It was a massive success last year, the first year. Huge amounts of engagement. 4 of the top 5 idols were women, and it turned into a big celebration of kind of women's rights as well as integrity, which was awesome. We had at the ceremony lots of very important people, including a lady called Ngozi, who is the former finance minister of Nigeria and is a massive proponent of anti-corruption. We had Dr. Obi, who was the founder of the Girls Bring Back Our Girls movement. So it was really cool, lots of positive energy. So this year we want to build on that. We are closing nominations in Nigeria soon. So if you know anyone in Nigeria, please forward them the application form. So far, I think last year we got about 150 nominations. This year we're over 300 already. We're aiming for about 500. He said we 259. And it sounds like we're getting a lot more online, a lot of health and education, and trying to increase diversity, but still getting a lot from the big main cities. We didn't have as much money as we wanted for volunteers. Nigeria is a very big country, so it was hard to get everywhere. But we can work on that going forwards. O'Day, I think, piloted this idea that we could maybe incentivize volunteers to get nominations by paying them a little bit extra. I'm not sure about that as a general rule, because it could create perverse incentives if they start making up nominations and that kind of thing. We need to be a bit careful, but it seems to have worked as long as we can validate them. Also working with universities and academic institutions to identify the nominees. We're also thinking very hard about beyond the campaign, how we engage the idols and build coalitions for integrity, drawing on a lot of what we've done in Nepal and other countries. One is creating partnerships with universities and with the equivalent of the civil service sort of training school to teach integrity, to use the mentors as idols, have meet the idols events, that kind of thing. So one is Lagos Business School that O'Day and I went to visit recently with their Department of Ethics. There's also a Convention on Business Integrity that's more of a business coalition. And so we're beginning to see if we can bring Integrity Idol into that side of things. We are lucky enough to have got a decent grant for Nigeria for the next 2 years now for Integrity Idol from the MacArthur Foundation. And that's going to allow us also to build out some of the work around changing individual integrity into institutional integrity. So, for example, with the winners this year, we are taking not just the winner, but their entire team for a really nice integrity retreat. So we're doing 5 of those to help the team buy into this and really understand that this is not just about one individual, it's about the whole team, and that integrity is a good thing and it can lead to the kinds of changes that they might like to see. So that, it's going well in Nigeria, but still quite early, and I think the team definitely wants to learn more from you guys about ways forward.
Great, thank you. Liberia, Lawrence. Sorry, yes.
Okay. Just want to say hello to everyone. It's always a pleasure when we connect across this kind of network. So Integrity Idol has been operating in Liberia for this is our 4th year and has gained momentum under the past regime. At which point the last Integrity Idol, we had a president stamping or say on it like, if this would have happened long before, she would have been very happy to ensure that this becomes something that can celebrate on the civil servants. And also we had the Crown Prince of Norway launching our Integrity Idol for this year. We opened our campaign in April this year, and we also close in the end of July. We have the total nomination of 2,736. Very good nominations this year. Very good because last year we encountered a few problems that I'll talk about later with our volunteers, which we've improved drastically, and it helped us collect. Instead of this year having 30 persons, we have 35 because it's really a fierce competition this year because we are getting people from education, and I'll talk about them more. But the team, from our lessons learned through our Integrity Idol conference, where we brought our idols together here, which Blair and Jane, as well as Cherry was also here, we had a very good work rate. This team is also led on this project by Famata Davis and supported by the team. Jane, you want to go change the slide, please? Thank you. So what we noticed that was different is as the volunteers went out in the field, we also noticed that Liberia hasn't had a national democratic transition until more than 50 years, a little more than 50 years. And then we had one from President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to President George Weah. And that, there's a lot of change in government. It affected civil society, civil servants as well, and has decreased the total nominations. First year we had 1,500. Second year we moved up to 3,000. Third was about 5,000. This year is dropped just due to this, and we hope. But what has increased as well is the quality in nominations, as I said before, because last year we noticed that some of the volunteers were not trained well, especially one of the youth organizations that we have. The volunteers were not really trained, which we thought we should engage them and train them more. So we did and brought in more, two other groups, especially that have helped us, in Hope Alliance and Generational Thinkers. But this year we've had 17 in the last 35 that are from the educational sector, and we have 10 from the security sector in a country that says that the education system is a mess and that the security sector is full of a lot of corruption. We think, having done the investigations, we think that this is hope, especially so last year, one of our finalists who, Afonso, who also brought down drug arrest in the president's convoy. I think Blair and I, we are on that story, and we are helping the government as well to review the drug law here in Liberia. We are stemming our authority on that. The healthcare Kimter with 3 nominations. We have forestry with 1. We have finance that has to do with revenue authority comes with 1. We also have gender ministry has 2, and PPCC, that is the public procurement concession, also has 1. And this gives us a lot of quality in the nomination. So we're thinking a lot of things around this. Blair and I talked, we're developing a model basically for an integrity school in order to support this. This is something I'm working on it. I should be submitting a Blair May this month, and that we can look at and pilot for government, private sector, as well as civil society organization. So thank you, and if there's questions, or there are questions, we will be ready to take them, but thanks.
Thank you so much. Fayaz, do you want to do your bit?
Thank you, Jean. Hello, everyone. This is Fayaz from Labs Pakistan office, and we have half of our team sitting here. Guys, if you quickly want to say hello to everyone. Yeah. We have Bakhtaur here, and Masood is joining us, and Bisma, I think she's joining from home. She's also online. I can see her. Well, guys, since Jean had asked us to quickly think through those 6 questions. At Accountability Labs Pakistan office, Bisma is leading the Integrity Idol Pakistan campaign. This is the 3rd year when we are doing it. And one particular question, which about the nominations that we have received so far, I would let her answer on that. Question number 1: when did you open? And Jean, apologies for not putting up a formal presentation for this. We had been, running around for EAD thing, which is at final stages, and a couple of other things, which I'm sure Blair know about. So we opened up our nominations for Integrity Idol Pakistan 2018 this year in late August, the 4th week. And this time around, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP Pakistan is formally on board for this. They are partnering with us, and we are, although we are still waiting for a formal contract from them, but they have given a formal nod for that through the email. We plan to close the nominations around 30th of September, and depending upon the number of nominations that we'll have at that time, we might extend it for another 15 days or so, but that is not on the cards at the moment. This year we had slightly changed the overall the target group for the Integrity Idol Pakistan. Previously, it was open for all the government employees. This year, on insistence from the UNDP, we are focusing people under the age of 35. It's a kind of Integrity Idol Pakistan which is focused on the youth, which I'm afraid might affect, which might have a toll on the overall number of nominations that we receive every year. But still, overall, we expect that we might still be able to reach the number that we had achieved last year, which was the highest so far. That was around 400. How many nominations we have received so far? I had discussed this with Bisma. Can you hear us? Do you want to speak on that?
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
She's not very clear.
We have received 3 nominations so far.
I think, Bisma, your voice was breaking. It's around 53 nominations. If Bisma was not audible, her voice was breaking on our end, so I thought of reaching that out. Yes, on the 4th question about difference about this year's nomination, I've already said that this year our focus is on youth and, of course, women's participation in the Integrity Idol process. This year we have, since UNDP has formally come on board, we had a dedicated budget for social media promotions. Accountability Lab never had an organizational card. Pakistani laws does not allow for an organizational credit or debit card. We have made it in the name of Masood Bhai, the finance person, and we'll be using it from tomorrow to boost boost our social media campaign from tomorrow onwards. That's that. And different. We are reaching out to all of our previous Integrity Idols, from all 4 provinces of Pakistan. Meher has been very helpful in terms of identifying people and recommending to them for Integrity Idol, nominating them. She's also helping us do the background checks in a more thorough manner. And we are expecting same from the other Integrity Idols who are currently being contacted by this.
I think you've broken off, Fayaz. There we go. You're back. Okay, I think Fayaz has quietened down. All right, so we don't have much time left, so I'm just quickly going to talk about Integrity Idol South Africa. We will be running the campaign again next year. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about this year. Faith is unfortunately in a meeting she can't get out of. So I'm just sort of doing it. We received 283 online nominations, 232 WhatsApp nominations, and from all the 9 provinces in South Africa. We only sought out nominations from healthcare, education, safety and security. And sort of that's how it's broken down by healthcare and from education and safety and security. The nominees were 50% female and 47% male, with 1.54% non-binary. We didn't know. We made quite a splash in the media, so we have our short films, and Andrew's on the call. Did really well on Twitter and YouTube and various news agencies who posted them out. And so it's actually, the number of views is a lot more than that. We just didn't quite know. It was very difficult to track on the Daily Sun. And we also, reached 82,000 people on social media. That's excluding our partners who also took the information and sent it out. And yes, our social media following increased by 600%. It started with nothing, so we now have about 1,000 people following us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and that sort of thing. And then just as a last one, since then, our idols have connected with ethics officers in the Department of Public Service Administration and their particular offices. We really worked with young people this year to design and implement the campaign, particularly through our Young Filmmakers Fellowship, which was supported by the Indigo Trust. The Minister for Public Service Administration has extended an invitation for us to join an OGP working group. They have also said that they will work with us to develop Integrity Idol next year. As well as, and then on a regional level, we've also, Faith was invited to the African Governance Architecture Youth Meeting to talk about anti-corruption. She's also been invited to another meeting, the Transparency International meeting in Copenhagen, to talk about sort of the youth element around a lot of this. And the Embassy of Canada and a few others are also speaking to Faith about how we're trying to leverage young people to talk about the issue of anti-corruption. And so, yes, this is for next year. We will start up in January. We hope to finish in October. This year we were January to May because we had to run it very fast to coincide with the end of the global table. But we ended up running it over a longer period of time. Well, we hope to run it over a longer period of time next year. We will, however, be gathering all nominations prior to the start of election season, and we hope we will be having elections next year in May. So nominations will come in, and then we will make the films over May, June, July. And we also intend on building out our youth skills development program, our public service fellowship, similar to what they're doing in Nepal, as well as an Idols leadership development and capacity building program, which we hope to be doing with LifeCo Unlimited and the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And that's us. Mali. Bilali? Bilali?
Maybe we lost him.
He seems to be there. I just can't seem to unmute him. Oh, there we go. Hi, Bilali.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, hi. How are you?
Great, thank you. Do you want to
yes,
represent
thank
AL Mali for us?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to join you guys.
You seem to be breaking up or fading away. Yeah. Fatih, can you also hear us? Okay, I think the Mali team is struggling with their internet and have been for a little while. So we can just go through this quickly, and then if he joins, it seems like they're closing their applications on September the 15th. They've received 1,500 nominations. They've improved on communications, more nominations from rural areas. And as suspected, their volunteers that are more engaged and better trained are from, is where the most nominations are coming from. They're hoping to have 50, they're also 50 nominations per volunteer. organizing a day to sensitize people in Bamako. So it seems like there seems to be a general conversation about making sure that volunteers are appropriately trained, and working with the Embassy of the Netherlands for the project. Narayan, you're the last one, I think. Would you like?
Slide?
Did you know? You said slides on it.
No. Thanks, Jane. Sorry, we didn't have a slide, but I have few updates about Integrity Idol. First of all, thank you guys. It's amazing, coming everyone together on this call. This is amazing. There's a lot of things happening around the globe, which is very exciting. Since Integrity Idol started from Nepal and now is in all country, it's really good news for all of us. So this year, in Nepal, we got nearly 1,300 nominations, and the nomination was open for about 4 months. The first quarter of this year, January until April end. So this year we got, this is the largest number so far we got since we started Integrity Idol 4 years ago. It's more challenging because we got really quality nominations. The reason is that we did a lot of campaigns and a lot of people knows about the Integrity Idol, its values, its importance, then we begin to receive more quality nominations. And it's creating a more job for us, and it's really difficult to keep them out and narrowing down to top 5. So until now we are struggling on finding top 5 out of top 100. So hopefully by mid-September we'll be able to narrow down to top 5 and ready for filming and TV show sometimes in November, and we'll eventually wrap up this season's grand finale in December. We got more women this year. I think compared to previous years, we have more women. I can't remember the exact percentage. I'm sorry about this. The very diverse groups of people from different departments, including agriculture, health, education, forestry, general administration. And in terms of geography, we cover, out of 77 districts, we cover 72 districts, which I think this is huge. And the reason is that we have tons of local volunteers all over the countries, and also our idols now located not just in Kathmandu, they are everywhere in the country, and they're also helping to promote this. And as a result, we got more nominations from all over the country. So a few things that I would like to share that we've been doing since the beginning, not since the beginning, from last year. One is fellowship, which is really cool. So we invited young people to work with Integrity Idols, to shadowing their work for 2 weeks to 3 weeks of time. It's really about experiences, an opportunity for young people to work with these idols and see how these idols work on everyday basis, and how their the way of life looks like. But at the same time, for the idols, working with young people who are aspiring, future servant, and the experiences of working together and sharing knowledge and exchanging ideas, feelings, and empathy was really cool. And we're replicating this year as well. We just we just concluded one batch of fellowship, and we're also opening new batch of fellowship from this month. And we're hoping another sets of 10 to 5 to 10 new volunteers. The fellows will join this campaign. And the second thing that we did this year, amazing, is the Integrity Summit in each region. So we just did one in one of the province, and it went incredibly well. Lots of public servants and elected representatives, they all came and began to conversation on how to build integrity within their workplace, including putting integrity as a first thing to do in terms of their performance evaluation and contracting and all sort of mechanism, all sort of businesses of the local government, which is cool. And we are doing it in following months in another 6 provinces. which we hope it will have the same, a level of vibes and engagement. And we just chat with there, and after we do all this integrity summit, we will have lots of knowledge and information sharing by these people, and we may codify it into a sort of small write-ups and use as a basis of communication with our donors or our networks, and how cool it is to run this campaign, to have this conversation, or sort of like shifting values and mindset through the dialogue and conversation. So it could be a strong base for us to communicate as an impact, or as a campaign. We got a couple of media coverage this year. For example, there's something called Gov Insider. Will publish from Singapore has featured us, and then recently, the last week, there is one news portal, I think, outlet from UAE, the National International featured us, which is cool. And then there's some leverage, among, I would say, really helping to build institution, through our experiences. Not a big change, but at least to begin with. For example, the staff college who provide trainings to public, officials in terms of on how to conduct their everyday business, but at the same time they realize the importance of, integrity building, throughout their careers. And that's where we have been consulted a lot, and our idols have been engaged in developing their curriculum for the trainings, which is cool. Similarly, the Public Service Commission, who is the main body who recruit the public service, and they have included some of the question related to integrity idol. The one funny question is, who won the first integrity idol in Nepal? So in their exams, which is cool. And the integrity idol Nepal team also had a privilege to visit Sri Lanka to support them, to share our experiences, how it works, sharing challenges and learning, and we still continue boarding them. And obviously the integrity idol team also contributing to the global team through our website, and we have amazing designers here. Bikin does a lot of website stuff, which is also cool for us to learn what's happening around the globe, within integrity idol. And then the last thing is, there's new things happening here. There's one of the largest university in Nepal is now establishing a new department on governance and anti-corruption, which I am also part of this curriculum committee, and I'm pushing to include the integrity idol and citizen help desk stuff as a as part of practitioners' perspectives on building integrity and accountability. I think it's enough for now. Thank you. If there's any question, I can always answer.
Thank you so much, Narayan. Bilali, I know that you're back online. So we literally have sort of just over 10 minutes left. So Bilali, if you can quickly do your piece, and then I did go over it very quickly, but I think if you can quickly do yours, then we are open to questions. If you want to ask Blair, me, any of the country directors, anyone a question, we have 10 minutes for that. And then after that, we will close the meeting. But if you have any other information that you'd like to share, or a way that you would like to make this meeting better, let us know. Great, Bilali.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry. So this year we have been doing the communication differently by using volunteers. So we have been doing giving objective by volunteer. Every volunteer have today 50 goal to attend 50 nominations, so that they can be more motivated to obtain their goal. So we pay them $13 by 50 nominations. So we saw that this motivate some of them to make more nominations, so that today we have more than 1,500 nominations today. Yeah, and the good news today is that we have the support of the Netherlands Embassy for the next 4 years, so that we are very happy that we can run the program during the next 4 years. Yeah.
Great. Thanks,
Yeah,
Bilali.
that's basically what I can. Yes.
Thank you so much. All right. Does anyone have any questions, comments, ideas, thoughts?
Jean,
Yes.
this is Blair. Maybe I can also just give a very quick update on what's next with Integrity Idol in other countries.
Yes.
We, as you guys know, we have pulled together a kind of Integrity Idol handbook, which has codified the process a bit. And now, rather than setting up our own offices in other countries, we're going to try and license Integrity Idol to other people and other organizations to run it for us. So the first version of this is in Sri Lanka, where Transparency International is running Integrity Idol Sri Lanka. I was there last week, and they're doing very well. Got tons of very good nominations, have a really good process in place already, getting lots of media attention. So that's really cool. They're already thinking about next year. They're fundraising for it. So that's pretty exciting. I think there's some details that we need to iron out with them in terms of sort of branding and that kind of thing. But overall, I think it's working quite well. So the next country on the list, which I think is about to happen, is Mexico. Our first Integrity Idol in Latin America, which will be very exciting. Another very big, very strategic, and very corrupt country. And so we'll see what happens. BMW, which supported us in South Africa, is also interested in supporting us there. So we're talking to them. And then there's a number of other conversations, mostly between me and sometimes myself and Jean and Sherry with other countries. And I'd love to hear if you guys are also having any of these conversations. But other countries that we're talking to include in Latin America, Ecuador and Brazil, which could be really interesting. And then in Africa, Uganda is the other one where we've begun to see some interest. So I think, quite quickly, if we get this process organized, we could have Integrity Idol in 20 or 30 countries, which would be amazing. And we'd obviously need to work out how we manage all of this. But that's exciting. And then in terms of other partnerships, I'm also trying to begin to look at a global media partnership. For example, with Al Jazeera or Netflix, or something that could really help us take the content global and move beyond just the country level, which would be amazing. And the other thing we're considering is doing a global Integrity Idol, where the winner from each country would then go into a global competition, which would just be online, but would be another way for us to get the word out there and promote what we're doing. So would love your feedback on those ideas too.
Great. Thanks, Blair. Anybody have any questions? We have a few minutes left. Nothing?
Hello?
Yes. Hi, Abby.
Hey. I was following all the presentations, and there were a few things that came to mind, and I believe the Liberian team can definitely work on and incorporate. And it had to do with the partnerships part that Blair spoke about from Nigeria. I talked about the school, and I will follow up with him later to get more details. And then our team leader from Nepal, he talked about the Integrity Idol Fellowships. I think those angles are very great angles that we can definitely work with here in Liberia, especially since we're dealing with public servants when it comes to planning integrity. And there are 3 institutions here, I believe, those angles we can explore when it comes to partnership that has to do with the CSA, which is the Civil Service Agency, where civil servants that work in government are recruited. The Liberian Institute of Public Administration, especially when you talk about the fellowship, That's a place where government entities send their employees to build skills. And I think those are people that we can engage with to talk about partnership, especially when it comes to integrity. Maybe there's something that we can present on a course for integrity, that it can include in the curriculum. I think that's a very good angle that we can explore. And then when he talk about the seminar with something from the university, I believe there, we can also talk with the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. That's a place where when people are appointed, you have to declare your assets. You start with a little thing, declare your assets. You have to go through certain checks and balances. So I believe those are angles that we can explore and build partnership with to help to build the profile of our Integrity Idol program. That's why I wanted to.
Excellent. Thanks, Abby. Yes, that's the idea of this meeting, is that people can get some good ideas. And if you have any information, if anybody wants to share anything with anyone or let anyone know about anything, or if you have any questions, feel free to chat to them. Any other questions, comments, ideas?
I forgot to mention there's something that we're starting from this year, like the Integrity Fellowship targeting to young people outside government. So we're starting something more for the young government officials who just begin their career. We'll invite through this Integrity School, which is sort of a integrity incubator for them, those who are aspiring to become a future integrity idol. We will start from this year with at least 15 young officers, and we will also invite young officers, not just from the public, not just from general administration and education and health, but also army, police, because in Nepal, we never included army and police into our integrity idol process. But this is something that we are trying and testing from this year, and I want to hear your perspectives. What do you think it will work out or not? Not now, but maybe later.
Great, thanks, Narayan. All right. Okay. If there's nothing else, I think we can close this month's meeting. I think this is a really great start. We won't have, it will be more sort of contextual, and also it will be more current each meeting. The idea is that we will have as much sort of information for people to understand what's happening. The meeting won't necessarily be an hour. My ideal will be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, no longer than that. But it really, as I hope you can all see, it's really cool that everyone gets to talk, and hopefully next time we won't just have all the country directors talking, we'll also have some of the staff members telling us a little bit about sort of citizen help desks or the projects that they're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Team. Thanks, everybody.
Yay.
Thank you. See you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.